now welcome to America's Game of the Week here in Week 13 as we battle in the NFC South. The Carolina Panthers know that they have already clinched the division. The third straight year they are division champions, but right now in 2015, Cam Newton and company looking at an undefeated season. The only team left in the NFL that does not have a loss. Carolina won the toss. They defer. The Saints start this day with the football. Glad you're with us today on Fox. Drew Brees and company will start at the 20. And so, Troy, I know that the Saints started this season 1-4. They won 3. Now they've lost 3. These are the numbers at home for Drew Brees. No team wants to come in here and play the Saints on their home turf.
Yeah, especially when you're playing within your division. This is a game in Week 3 in which Drew Brees did not play. Luke McCown was the starting quarterback that game. That game anyway, came down to the wire, and these two teams know each other very well.
Going to start with a throw, or at least that's the plan, and to the near sideline. It's dropped by Brandon Cooks. And the matchup to watch during the course of the day will be number 10, Brandon Cooks, against number 24, Josh Norman, one of the best corners in the league. He's joined, Cooks is, by Ingram, Coleman. Watson's had a huge year at tight end, and Andrus Peat, the first-round pick, makes the start at left guard again.
Yeah, and a little change there at right guard. Jari Evans was a game-day decision. They determined he could not go, and so Tim Lelito had been the starter at left guard most of the season. He gets the nod there at right guard today.
Second down and 10. Here's Ingram. He breaks loose. He's got a first down out across the 30, knocked down near the 34. A 14-yard gain by Mark Ingram, brought down by Coleman.
Well, an excellent job, Zach Strieve. He makes a key block, as you're going to see on the middle linebacker, and then it opens up the hole for Mark Ingram, and that's what Sean Payton has been hoping to see. Really, it's been inconsistent throughout the season. They came into the year wanting to run the football, haven't been as efficient as they would like. They know how important that is against an outstanding run defense in Carolina.
Little movement before the snap, no flag. Here's Cooks. And a nice catch and run. Good for 8 as Colin Jones makes the stop. And this defense is so good. It's centered around their guy in the middle, Luke Kuechly. He's the best in the game.
He's amazing. The linebackers really are extremely fast. They pursue to the football. Hard to get out on the outside against them because of this team's speed. And as good as they've been all year, the last month they have just smothered opposing offenses.
On second down, pass is caught. Quick tackle made by Kuechly on Ingram. And it depends on the forward progress they give Ingram as to whether it's a first down or not. It is a first down. There's Sean Payton. I don't know if people remember what Sean Payton has brought to this organization with that marriage that started in 2006. They went right to the NFC Championship game. They won it all in 2009. They've established the Saints as a force in the NFL. Payton and Brees. But 4-7 to start here today. A nice play made by Jared Allen. A gain of 1 as Ingram carries it. And then there is a gentleman on the other side by the name of Ron Rivera, who his nickname may be Riverboat Ron, but he is about as steady a rock as there is on anybody's sideline.
Yeah, a little different personality between he and then Sean Payton, who we just showed. And you're right, Ron, he just maintains the ship. He's very even keel throughout the week, each and every week, and this team has responded to his style.
Brees, Spiller out of the backfield to target. Allen got his hand up and knocked it away. It'll bring up 3rd down and 9 for a Saints team that was good on 3rd down coming into last week, but 3 for 12 on this down at Houston in their loss to the Texans.
And one of the reasons why they struggled so much against the Texans was they found themselves in a lot of 3rd and long like they're facing here. This is a difficult defense to move the football against, extremely difficult to convert on these downs when you're not in manageable distances.
And a false start makes it 3rd and 14.
False start. Offense number 17. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
Out on the edge, it was the young receiver T.J. Graham, who can really fly, and he will fly on out of the huddle after a false start on 3rd and 9. So 3rd and 14. As the Panthers had a lot of players up on the line of scrimmage. And they lined up before that false start, and they're back up. They bring 4 guys on the rush. Breeze finds his tight end Watson. Good play. As the tackle is made by Cortland Finnegan, his first week back. Signed off the street, hasn't played since last year, makes the tackle and forces 4th down.
This is a matchup we're going to see a lot of here this afternoon, with Josh Norman matching up on Brandon Cooks. That's what they did in that first meeting in week 3. They do an excellent job of covering the receivers down the field. Breeze has no chance other than to drop it off, and a nice stop defensively by the Panthers.
2 first downs on that first possession. Beautiful punt here by Morstead, but will it check up? And it does. Heads out of bounds near the 5. They'll mark it at the 6, and Morstead could not have done it much better. Here comes Cam in a scoreless first quarter.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide.
Well, it's loud on America's Game of the Week, and Cam Newton will start. Not in the shotgun. From the 6. Hands it off to Stewart. Good start. Jonathan Stewart gets 9 for the guy who is number 2 in carries in the NFL. Number 3 in rushing yardage, and there's Greg Olsen, the tight end, but he is the top target for Cam Newton.
Well, it sure is, and the tight ends have been a problem for this defense of the New Orleans Saints, and Greg Olsen had an outstanding game the last time these 2 teams met. And like you said, that's the guy who Cam Newton looks to get the ball to.
False start. Offense number 74. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
It's Brad Allen, our referee, whose crew, just so you know, is called the 2nd fewest fouls around the NFL here in 2015. Brad, in his 2nd year, came straight from the ACC. He's in charge today. Makes it 2nd and 6. Handoff to Stewart, running left, brought down after a gain of about 1. Kevin Williams on the tackle, and the defense. They have really struggled at the linebacker level, and they have 2 rookie starting linebackers in Anthony and Kikaha.
You know, I talk about some of the issues that they've had being able to slow down opposing teams' tight ends. A lot of that has been because of the revolving door at the outside linebacker position. Stephon Anthony, the rookie that you mentioned, he has started every game, but he himself is even going through some growing pains.
On 3rd down and 5, Newton was bothered on the throw, and the pass comes up short. Round the intended target. And it looked like Newton was at least grazed when he let that ball fly.
Well, they bring some pressures, you're going to see, and they're able to affect Newton as he's trying to step up into the pocket. They want to get the ball down the field. He gets grabbed and just unable to get it out there. And so an outstanding job, aided by the false start that backed him up, but an excellent job by this defense getting off the field.
Nortman punts it. Murphy, the rookie, hauls it in inside the 45, but good starting field position for the Saints. They may be 4-7, but they are at home playing a divisional rival and trying to knock off the undefeated Carolina Panthers. No score.
Today's game is sponsored by Budweiser. Make a plan to make it home.
Second possession for the Saints, no score. Starting at their own 49. Hand off to Ingram. Not much. We'll welcome you inside the broadcast booth for the first time today to prove that we're wearing ties. I'm Joe, that's Troy Aikman, and it's going to be fun to watch Carolina. It's been fun already in 2015. Every phase of the game's working for them.
Well, this defense really is the one that sets the tone for this team, as we saw on Thanksgiving night, as well as they played. And then offensively, the only team in all of football that runs the ball more than they throw it. And then they like to take the shots, and that's something that New Orleans has struggled with defensively.
2nd and 8 and drop. Long-time target. Drew Brees, Marcus Colston brings up 3rd down and 8.
You know, Drew Brees coming off that tough performance last Sunday against the Houston Texans, failed to score a touchdown offensively for the first time this season. He completed less than 60% of his passes, but you know, he was excited not having faced this team earlier in the year. He's excited about this ball game today. He knows it's a challenge, but he likes the guys that he has up front. Some changes along that offensive line, a little different cast of characters that he's had in previous years.
Brees well protected, throw is high but caught. This is Coleman, and Coleman with a nice catch and run. He's got a 1st down inside the 20. 31 yards on 3rd down and long, and it started with a protection for Brees.
You're going to see Mark Ingram. He does a good job of recognizing it. It's right there to then pick up the blitz, and Brees able to get enough time to get the ball out to Coleman, and that's one of the guys that they were really looking forward to seeing him get some action here in this ball game today, because Willie Snead unable to go. Coleman a big target. He makes a nice play on the ball. A big game.
Hand off to Ingram. You know, while you talk about an undefeated season for Carolina, and they've been terrific, they've had a couple of close calls, but they have shown their might in every phase of the game. Arizona's right behind them. Arizona a winner today in St. Louis in just a walkover. And for the Cardinals now, their record goes to 10-2.
Well, I think, Joe, that when you look at this Carolina team and being undefeated, and you say, okay, if they were to win today and they lock up the division, and then how do they handle the rest of the year? The fact that Arizona's breathing down their neck, that'll give them a lot to play for the rest of the year.
2nd and 6, end zone, touchdown, Watson. Coleman got him down there, and Watson gets him in there, and the first points belong to the Saints. What a year Benjamin Watson has had.
It's a well-designed route. You're going to see by Ben Watson, and they run Colston through the middle, and that frees up Ben Watson then up the seam, because the safety has to go with Colston. And then Watson, once he gets in behind that zone coverage, it gives Brees a place to go with the football. And you're right, he has had an excellent year replacing Jimmy Graham.
That is the first touchdown for the Saints in 20 drives. They've scored a total of 20 points the last 2 weeks combined, but a good fast start for Drew Brees against the Panthers, up 7.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Dodge. By T-Mobile, ditch your carrier and switch to the Un-carrier. And by Lowe's, hurry in today for great winter savings.
The great city of New Orleans, Louisiana. Aerial coverage provided by Nationwide inside. Rather calm weekend for the group here in New Orleans. Proud of it. Proud of the guys and gals that we work with, especially you.
Go 10. You wouldn't be so proud of him.
Yeah. Tara Lavoro, he tearing it up. Let's go down to the field and check in with Aaron Andrews.
Joe, it doesn't take a genius to figure out the Saints are fired up about playing an undefeated Carolina Panthers team and a quarterback like Cam Newton. Let me show you another thing that fired them up. Cam Newton in pregame warm-ups, throwing balls, catching balls, even stretching, where the Saints were warming up. He even kind of walked away from his team and flat out watched the intros of the Saints. I had a couple players say, we had a shot of espresso before we wanted to play them. That was like a triple shot, watching him kind of play around in our end zone.
He's having fun, no doubt about it. He's been all smiles as we play here in week 13 for the 11-0 Carolina Panthers. Dixon, the tight end, gets 6.
Well, it's been a good start for the New Orleans Saints. I mean, the defense on the previous possession were able to force a 3-and-out. Offensively, they come down and they get a touchdown. And you know, we've seen Carolina win a lot of different ways, but the way they're built offensively, even though they have done it, they did it against Seattle earlier in the year, which I think was a defining game for them this season. The fact that New Orleans able to jump up on them early, I think is good, certainly for New Orleans, and putting a little pressure on this team.
2nd and 4 over the middle. That's a fastball, and it's caught by Greg Olsen, and that'll light up a radar gun. Got to Olsen in a blink. Good for 9.
You see Cam Newton, he doesn't take much off his ball, even when he's capable of doing so. He likes to line it in there, and Greg Olsen, excuse me, he's able to make a nice catch on it.
Among tight ends, the most catches in Carolina history for Olsen. That's his 54th catch of this season. Looked like Carolina was going to go into motion with Olsen out there at the end of the line of scrimmage, and the Saints came across. See how they figure out who it's against.
Well, Remmers moved. I mean, Greg.
Neutral zone infraction, number 78, defense. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
They get Bobby Richardson for coming across. He is one of a number of rookies that they have 5 of them active up front on the defensive line for the Saints.
Yeah, Bobby Richardson playing once they traded Akeem Hicks to the New England Patriots.
Brings up 1st and 5. Play action. There's a fastball picked off by Delvin Breaux. Down the sideline. And sliding down outside the 20. 2nd pick for number 40. Trying to force it into Ted Ginn. Ill-advised throw by Cam Newton. And the first pick in his last 89 pass attempts. It was never there.
Well, Delvin Breaux, he's playing press coverage. He just plays it beautifully, and he's in a great position. And that ball, you've got to be real careful if you're Cam Newton in that type of coverage. You got to get it out to the sideline, and Breaux makes a good jump on it. And an excellent job.
His 2nd interception of the season. His story is tremendous. Delvin Breaux. The return was 22 yards to set up the Saints at the 20, up 7. Pass is incomplete for Hill, the 2nd tight end on the roster. Delvin Breaux is a guy who was all world growing up in this part of the country. He broke 3 vertebrae in his neck as a senior in high school, was hoping to play at LSU, was never cleared medically to play. So he ended up playing semi-pro ball, the CFL. The Saints signed him, and he's been one of their best defensive backs all year. He gets the early pick here.
He's been a guy they've been able to count on all year.
Here's Ingram. Not much. Latulele on the tackle. Back to the line of scrimmage, 3rd and 10.
Well, this becomes a big possession really for both of these teams. I know, Sean Payton talked about it during the week, that if you look back at these matchups, the team that's been really good in the red zone, able to come away with touchdowns, has been the team that has won these games. Now, the offense gets the ball short field. This would be a huge win for this Carolina defense if they're able to force the Saints into a field goal attempt.
Spiller in on 3rd down. He gets it, and he is tackled immediately. What a good play by Davis. And Thomas Davis, who's been through 3 ACL tears, has had a phenomenal year. Brings him down with no gain.
Well, they're both just so fast, he and Luke Kuechly, that they read and recognize formations and how the play is developing, and you've really got to be on your game offensively to get anything past them. They try running a quick little pass underneath, and Thomas Davis recognizes it, makes a good open field tackle.
38-yard try by Kai Forbath. And no good. The interception does not cost Carolina anything. It remains a 7-0 game. Saints on top on America's Game of the Week. There's been instability at the kicking position for the Saints. They started their camp with two guys, Hopkins and Hocker. Both are gone. Now Kai Forbath, who hit from 57 last week, misses from 38. Still a 7-point game, and the handoff is to Stewart. And Stewart wrapped up after a gain of 1. Back to the field goal. The snap was good. Out of the hands of Drescher into the hands of Thomas Morstead. The hold, the tilt. But a block right by Forbath.
Yeah, well, they had a great opportunity to go up 2 scores and to not be able to capitalize on the turnover. You know, big for Carolina. As you said, this Saints team has had issues with their kicking game all season long, and really, you play a team that's undefeated, you've got to take advantage of those type of opportunities.
They barely got set. Handoff is to Stewart. He stood up again. And the ball is out. It's a live play. And no signal. Not one official has made a declarative statement as to whether this is a touchdown or not. Stephon Anthony.
Here's a call. Is not down by contact. Fumble. Touchdown.
Touchdown Saints. A scoring play. It gets another look. There was indecision on the part of the officiating crew. And let's take another look and make sure they got it right.
Well, we'll see whether or not Stewart was down. There's a lot of bodies in there, and hard to tell. I mean, Stephon Anthony.
Well, there's two pieces. Not only is Stewart down, but is Anthony down once he takes it out of the arms of Stewart, which happens right there. That's close. And then will Steph Anthony stay up before getting off the pile and heading to the end zone? They'll look at that, and we'll have the official call when we come back.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
What a good play by the rookie. Stephon Anthony. Mike Pereira, what'd you see from Los Angeles? You like the call?
I do, because once you see Stewart hit the ground, the ball's out of the picture, so you really can't see when it's ripped away. And certainly the recovering player was not down on the ground. I think the officials did a very good job, by the way, in holding the whistles and not blowing the whistles to kill the play, because then you could have never had a return for a touchdown.
Yeah, that's right. They were all looking at each other. Nobody blew it dead. And Anthony gets the touchdown. Kikaha was right in the middle of it as well. The two rookie linebackers. Carolina had gone 34 possessions, Troy, without a turnover. And they've turned it over twice over their last 3 offensive snaps. That'll kill you. It's 14-0. Carolina had only fumbled the ball 6 times all year. That's the second fewest in the league, behind Denver, and Stewart gives it up.
Yeah, well, that's what they've been doing so well, is protecting the football and not beating themselves. Haven't turned it over in the last 3 games, and this is a tough place to play when you allow this crowd to get into it. And this New Orleans team is really gaining some confidence here in this first quarter with the way they're playing defensively.
Carolina obviously on top, undefeated in the playoff picture. They would have the 1 seed as we play here in week 13. Then Arizona, they won easily today. Green Bay, because of Minnesota's loss, as they got thumped by Seattle. Seattle's playing great football. Russell Wilson is red hot. That combination with he and Doug Baldwin on fire. The Redskins lead the NFC East, which is a mess. The Giants blew a 20-10 lead late in that game and lost in overtime to the Jets. And Philadelphia's a game out. And you've got a Dallas team that's not finished. That division is impossible to figure out. Who better to tell you about the start of the UFC's 9 Days of Fury than the most talked about man in the UFC, Conor McGregor.
Friday, it's the Ultimate Fire finale.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Then Saturday, I plan to obliterate Jose Aldo on the biggest night in UFC history. So don't miss the prelims. Live and free, only on FS1.
That's on FS1. This is on FS. And it's time for Carolina to get it going. Again, dropped. Delvin Breaux. You give a 4-7 team a little life here at home, and the Saints are coming at them.
Well, that's a great job by Delvin Breaux already with an interception here in this game. He works through a blocker and able to make a nice tackle there. Great work by him.
Second week for the new signal caller for this defense, Dennis Allen. He was encouraged after week 1, the loss at Houston. They're trying to simplify. Second and 10. This one a rocket out to Ginn. It's dropped. 3rd and 10. And now with action after the whistle, a flag. This may be 15 free yards.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, taunting, number 32, defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
It's Kenny Vaccaro. Talented young safety.
Yeah, they have Carolina on the ropes. Delvin Breaux, they're going after him. He makes another nice play out there at corner, and would have been a long down and distance. And
it's a good call.
Yeah, they get Kenny Vaccaro. The league is watching these things. The officials are, and just not a very smart play.
So instead of 3rd and 10, it's a first down out at the 35. Newton's going to air it out. Ginn downfield is overthrown. This is one of the best deep ball throwing teams in the NFL. The Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, they run their play action. They do their things. They want to run the football, but you better be prepared for the deep shots down the field. They take their share of them, and they've been working over Delvin Breaux over there. He's been able to make some plays. He's playing tight coverage. They put Ted Ginn over there. He had 2 steps on him with a chance.
Newton, pass caught by Stewart, survives a Kikaha hit. And Kikaha comes back to make the stop. But a 15-yard catch and run, and that shows you the strength of Jonathan Stewart.
Jonathan Stewart has really had himself a outstanding season. Not a guy who catches a lot of passes. He breaks a tackle, picks up the first down, but you know, you look at him, Joe, he's carrying the load now with D'Angelo Williams being gone, and he has held up, but he's close to setting a personal record on number of carries in a season.
This is Carolina's biggest deficit on the scoreboard this season. Newton protected downfield, wide open. Olsen out of bounds. Could not have been more wide open, but the throw by Newton drove him out of bounds. 2nd and 10.
You know, you see this from time to time with Cam Newton. These are the throws that you just have to hit. He missed it earlier to Ted Ginn with an opportunity for a touchdown, and Greg Olsen may score here if he's able to catch that in stride. He's got to make one guy miss, but it should at the very least be a completion, and those are just some throws you just simply can't miss.
Panthers haven't run it on this drive yet. Continues. Funchess incomplete, looking for a flag, doesn't get it. Browner with coverage. Here's Mike Hill with a game break.
Broncos and Chargers. Denver defense stepping up like it has all season. Danny Trevathan picking off Phillip Rivers for the pick six, 25 yards on the score, making it 14-0 Denver. Rivers has 9 picks. 5 have been returned for touchdowns this season. Joe, Troy, back to you.
Denver trying to get to 10-2.
Well, they're banging on Greg Olsen as he's trying to get out, and after that he was checking his hand.
He's at the top of the formation, 3rd down and 10. Newton looking his way, pass caught, Olsen. He was knocked down immediately after a gain of 9 by Vaccaro. It's 4th and 1 at the 41, and we'll see if Riverboat Ron wants to go for it.
Well, I'm guessing Riverboat Ron is going to go for it, and it sure looks that way. And that's a great tackle by Kenny Vaccaro, because when Olsen caught that, it appeared that he would be able to get the extra yard to pick up that first. And we'll see what Carolina's able to do here on 4th and 1.
First things first, we're going to have a timeout. Ball is at the 41. They have to get it to the 40 for a first down with 1:33, and Ron Rivera is hot. The official, the referee, pointed toward New Orleans. Timeout Saints before this 4th and 1. And I think Sean Payton is upset about the number of players that were in the huddle prior to that play.
Yeah, both head coaches are discussing it. There's the tackle by Vaccaro. Great work on his part to force this 4th down call, and Ron Rivera clearly upset himself on the sidelines. And then, of course, Sean Payton have a lengthy discussion with the official.
Mike Tolbert ran out of the huddle late, and that's what Sean Payton was hot about. Extra offensive lineman Darrell Williams in there for Carolina, 4th and 1. Cam is going to walk for the first down and keep on going. Able to hang on to the ball, and he has set up Carolina with a first down just outside the 10 at the 11.
It's a great call by Mike Shula, anticipating that these guys are all going to collapse. Nobody then accounts for the quarterback keeper. He's able to get on the edge without any problem and pick up a huge gain on this play.
30 yards his season long.
And what's nice at the end of this, I mean, this is Cam Newton. He's not looking to run out of bounds and preserve himself. He keeps it in bounds and gets even more yards and contact.
Here's Stewart. Good play made by Brian Dixon, a young corner. 2nd year out of Northwest Missouri State. And we're under 40 to play in the opening quarter.
Well, Dennis Allen, when he took over as defensive coordinator, what he said they needed to start doing a better job of was communicating and then getting more bodies to the ball. They had to rally and gang tackle, and these guys are flying around, and that happens when you start creating takeaways. But that last run by Stewart, it was great pursuit by this Saints defense.
Allen, a former head coach in this league with the Raiders. 10th play of this drive. Newton keeps it. Pass caught by Conchery, and there to make the stop is Kyle Wilson. And that's how the first quarter will come to a close. A loss of 3. 3rd down when we come back. 14-0 Saints back after this from your local Fox station. Big 3rd down here for Carolina on America's Game of the Week. 3rd and 11. Blitz. Tolbert out of the backfield. He is in for the touchdown. And he does the Carlton. Alfonso Ribeiro. The man who made that dance famous. And Mike Tolbert has just put Carolina on the board. He is a weapon. You can forget about him, but he is always there for Cam Newton.
Well, they bring the linebacker. He's got to be in man coverage. They're man across the board. Somebody's got to account for Tolbert. When they bring the linebacker who was in coverage, it frees him up, and that's why he was as open as what he was, and nobody there then to make the play.
How about Carolina on that drive? Typically, they're a running, play-action type team. They threw it 9 times and ran it only twice. But a big run was Cam Newton on 4th and 1. A 30-yard scamper. And the lead is cut in half. Somebody gets a souvenir, and those in blue are smiling down 7.
Today's game is sponsored by Amazon Fire TV. So long, showhole. By MetLife. Contact a MetLife Premier Client Group representative today. And by Burger King. Now get 10 chicken nuggets for $1.49. Only at BK.
There's a brand new exhibit at the World War II Museum here in New Orleans. Members of our crew got a sneak peek at the Road to Tokyo, which opens next Saturday. They said it is fantastic. There's the drive, 8 plays, 80 yards. You saw the 2 head coaches, Ron Rivera, Sean Payton. C.J. Spiller will take a knee, and for the difference between these 2 coaches and more on the both of them, here's Aaron.
Roman Harper this week writing a great article for Sports Illustrated talking about the differences between these 2 coaches, and of course Sean Payton, who basically was made for this city, as you could see by his quote there, and as you guys mentioned earlier, Ron Rivera, Riverboat Ron, just smooth and steady. And I talked to Roman Harper about these 2 coaches, and he said just 2 completely different guys, but the one thing he loves about both of them is that they let him be the guy who he was. Here in New Orleans when he played, he was more of an individual, kind of fiery, crazy, and he said here for Carolina, he's just more of a leader.
What a play up front, Aaron, thanks, made by Kyle Love. Woo. He shoots through and takes down Mark Ingram, a loss of 3.
Well, Kyle Love, he just shoots the gap, and he's able to just meet Ingram right in the backfield. Great work on his part, and to follow up on Aaron's report, I know that Carolina's sure happy to have Roman Harper back there. And in visiting with Sean Payton on Friday, he spoke glowingly of Roman Harper and what he meant to the Saints' success while he was playing for them. And a very smart player who does a lot of good things.
Pass is caught. That's Cooks. And Roman Harper spent 8 years as a New Orleans Saint. That article, by the way, is such a good read. It's part of Peter King's Monday morning quarterback section. It's so well written and points out the differences between playing for these 2 organizations. When they won it all back in 2009, it was a 13-0 start that year for the Saints. It's been an 11-0 start this year for the Panthers, 3rd and 8. Here's Colston, what a catch. Shows the great hands and the big body, 6'4", 225. Hauls it in for 14 on 3rd and 8.
Well, they put Marcus Colston in the slot. They got Brandon Cooks on the outside, and they run a little bit of a release there where they cross the 2 of them, and it allows Colston then one-on-one, and Drew Brees lays that up nicely. Cortland Finnegan in coverage, who was just signed in practice for the first time since last December this week.
So they're using him right out of the gate. This one floated and out of the reach of Brandon Coleman, who already has a big reception in this game. So far, Breeze has hit 6 different receivers. 2nd and 10.
It'll be interesting to see just how much they get out of Cortland Finnegan in this ball game. And they lost Charles Tillman a couple of weeks ago to a knee injury, and Ben Wickery had to then become the outside corner and to shuffle some things around. And Ron Rivera just felt like they really needed a veteran corner to help, in that nickel position, and that's why they went out and got Finnegan.
Breeze steps through some trouble over the middle. He's got Watson for a 1st down. A 16-yard completion, but a flag is down inside the 35. It's coming back.
Holding. Offense, number 65. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
Senio Clemente, who is in there now up front. And he is now playing right guard after the Saints started this game with Tim Lolito at right guard. And now Clemente is in there.
Clemente, the guy who he was grabbing was Charles Johnson, who returned last week after missing 8 weeks himself.
Timeout taken by New Orleans, their second. So instead of a 1st and 10 at the Carolina 48, because of the hold, 2nd and 20 at their own 26 for the Saints, who lead by 7. Big hold called against Clemente and the Saints to bring up 2nd down and 20. With the ball at their own 26. Breeze protected. Ingram, who has added this part to his game, just spinning his way for a couple of extra yards. Went around Thomas Davis, and Kurt Coleman got 7. Never really known as much of a threat out of the backfield catching it. New story in 2015.
Well, you don't see this very often. You see Kurt Coleman, Thomas Davis had a shot at him, but at one time there was about 9 Carolina Panthers around Mark Ingram, and he made a couple miss, but he wasn't going to get very far. This defense has been fun to watch all season.
The 3rd long ball game. Pass is juggled, caught, and that didn't work. T.J. Graham on 3rd and 13 gets 1. Mike Hill standing by with a game break.
Hey, no Gronk, no Edelman, no problem. Danny Amendola's back for Tom Brady, 11-yard touchdown catch. Brady passes Dan Marino for 3rd on the all-time list with 422 passing yards and touchdowns. 14-0 New England. He's a great one, and that is undeniable, Joe Buck.
So Amendola's back. Thank you, Mike. And that great coaching continues with the Patriots. That is not a good one by Morstead. He has one good one. This one is short. And Carolina, after just a 27-yard punt, takes over down 7.
Today's game is sponsored by Nissan. Innovation that excites.
It was a year ago tomorrow, December 7th. 2014, when the Panthers came here to this stadium. They had been 0-6-1 over their last 7. They won that game, won their next 3, won the division at 7-8-1. They haven't lost in the regular season since. Good work by Newton. Escapes pressure, finds Dixon, the tight end, down the sideline. Ripped out of bounds with a face mask potentially by Browner. And this is going to be a big play, and it all goes back to number 1.
Yeah, I mean, these are the things that, really don't show up unless you've been watching the game. Cam Newton, they're trying to take a shot down the field once again, and he makes someone miss, and then he buys a little time and finds his receiver out there, and it's another, that looked like the shoulder. Well, there at the end, Noah's face mask, and another big penalty on that previous drive when Carolina was able to come away with a touchdown. They got the 15 yards on Vaccaro for unsportsmanlike conduct, and now a 15-yard face mask penalty. Those are costly penalties for a defense that has struggled to stop people all year.
One by Vaccaro and now one by Brandon Browner. On 1st down, pass is caught. Greg Olsen, he's got a 1st down inside the 20.
You see Greg Olsen, they use him in a lot of different ways. They'll split him out wide, they put him there in the slot, and he runs the crossing route. Cam Newton finds him a big target over the middle.
Heavy pass.
Well, that's not like them either, but they have definitely leaned more on the passing game here in this first half.
No team runs it more than the Panthers this year in the NFL, over 50%. Newton is going to be sacked back near the 30. Brought down by Cameron Jordan, and hopefully Newton's okay as he went down awkwardly. Sack number 8 for Jordan.
Really a great job by Cam Jordan, because Cam Newton had a lot of places to run. He was the only one who really was able to get back there, and normally you'll see Newton be able to elude that guy and spin out of it, but Cam Jordan zeroes in on him and makes the play. You see every Panthers fan worried about how Cam Newton is feeling right now.
First sack for the Saints. It was potentially a season-changing sack. Gimpy is Newton, who steps into it, fires a strike. Ball is dropped. That's a catch and fumble. Vaccaro, as Olsen couldn't hang on. Dixon knocked it out, and Vaccaro is there for the recovery. And this, as of right now, is a second fumble of the game, third turnover for Carolina.
It looked like Dixon, when he was coming in to make the tackle, he was able to get his right hand on the ball and knock it out. No, Greg Olsen looked like maybe it just came out of his hand. I don't know if Dixon actually got his hand on there or not to force the fumble. But now Carolina turned the ball over 3 times now here in this first half.
Cam is still feeling the effects.
He was hobbling around before that snap was made in the shotgun. He was bouncing around on one leg like he was uncomfortable really putting much pressure on his foot.
Third turnover over the last 18 plays for the Panthers. Here's Ingram, and he lost the ball. Panthers say they have it. Jared Allen's under there, and they do not. It's recovered by a big offensive lineman. That's Andrus Peat, the rookie. Here's the fumble by Ingram.
Thomas Davis comes in. He gets his shoulder pad on the ball. It's just Ingram just loose with the football. They're fortunate that Andrus Peat was there to make the recovery.
14-yard run. No longer looking at the lower body of Cam Newton. Looked like it might have been an ankle, the way he got twisted. Now he's watching his defense go to work. Saints up 7. Hightower. 2 yards. Let's go back to that sack by Cameron Jordan on Cam Newton.
Well, here's the play that whatever happened to him is when it occurred, and Cam Jordan, he lands on the back of his legs, and then here's the snap before when he's bouncing around that left foot, and like he didn't want to put much weight on his right foot, and then he's getting checked out now to see what all's going on.
I kind of think it's the left. I don't know if he was hopping on it to try and stretch it out. Either way, they're looking at him on 2nd down and 8. Breeze downfield, too far for Cooks. 3rd down and 8.
Well, right now, the 14-7 game, Joe, the New Orleans is, they've had some opportunities. They missed the field goal, and with the way that they've been able to take the ball away, Carolina's had to rely heavily on this defense to make some plays.
Greg Olsen talking about the fumble. The backup quarterback Derek Anderson, 3rd and 8. Wentz, Kuechly did not get there in time, but forced a quick throw, and it's incomplete, 4th down.
That's a great job. They bring the pressure, they bring 2, and so they force the Saints to pick up 1, frees up Kuechly with a straight shot on Breeze, and he knows he just got to get rid of it.
So Ginn waits for the punt from Morstead. Morstead got an earful after his last effort from head coach Sean Payton. One good one, one bad one. And now a high hanger, and Ginn will haul in the fair catch outside the 25. 35-yard punt, nothing on the return. Panthers have it down 7. It's been a crazy week 13 in the NFL. Early game headline, Seattle soars their roll and they win their 3rd straight. I'll show you the numbers for Russell Wilson. A blown late lead by the Giants, and the Jets win that battle for New York. And the Bengals, they just rolled up the Cleveland Browns. Andy Dalton and A.J. Green went off. probably should have known after Thursday's game and that win by Green Bay in Detroit on the Hail Mary to Richard Rodgers. We were in for a wild week, and it's been that. Saints leading by 7. Here's Stewart, gets 1. Let's go down to the field and check in with Aaron. What's up with Cam Newton?
Not much attention to Cam Newton when he was sitting on the bench. The athletic trainers came over and talked to him for a bit, but they did make him jump up, kind of shuffle around and throw the ball, and they were saying, how does it feel? How does it feel? He did grimace. And I got to tell you, all these trainers and doctors are like hawks right now watching him out on this field.
Big 6'4", 245-pound quarterback. The shotgun on 2nd and 9. A toss to Stewart, running right, gets a block. And he'll be forced out just short. Mike Remmers was out there with a good block. It'll be 3rd down and 1.
Well, overall, this New Orleans defense has done a pretty good job against Jonathan Stewart in the running game of the Panthers. Of course, the big 4th down run by Cam Newton, but a defense that has really struggled, especially here the last 3 weeks, of slowing anybody down in the run game, knowing that they were facing a team that likes to run it as much as they have, although Carolina, as we said, has relied more on throwing the football with some of these heavy boxes by the Saints.
Tolbert back there with Cam. And Cam will just take it for the 1st down. Cam Newton now is 7 for 8 on 3rd and 1 rushes. With that big body, just any push at all, they're going to get it.
Well, like Aaron Andrews said, that the doctors are watching him like hawks, but it doesn't change what they're going to do offensively. You know, still they're in short yardage situation. They feel very comfortable letting him run with the ball.
Winners of their last 15 regular season games. On 1st down, Newton has Tolbert. Tried to make a move and slipped. Still picked up 6. Anderson taps him down. James Anderson got the start at weak side linebacker as the Saints again are without Donnell Ellerbe. Made the trade with Miami, gave up Kenny Stills, who was their number 2 receiver, to get him, but Ellerbe's only played in 4 games, now out with a hip.
Yeah, I know coming into this year, they had some higher expectations for this defense, a group anyway, that struggled a year ago, and really in almost every defensive category, they're worse this year than they were last season.
On 2nd and 4, Dixon, 1st down. Dinkin and Duncan their way down the field, and here's Mike Hill with another game break.
Struggling Eagles trying to keep it close against the Patriots. Sam Bradford to Zach Ertz. Look at that catch. Laying out for it, 5 yards, gets him 6, his first of the season. Cutting that lead in half, 14-7 Patriots in the 2nd. Joe, Troy, back to you.
Well, they're right there. The Eagles are 4-7 coming in. The Giants in front of them are 5-7. The Redskins 5-6 in first place. Here's Stewart. He's averaging 3.4 yards per carry. Before that, as he gets 7, brought down by the rookie Anthony.
Yeah, now they start relying on him a little bit more, and he'll get going. And as I said earlier, I really like Jonathan Stewart, his style. He's a tough runner. He's got good vision. He's explosive. He's powerful. The big key, and Ron Rivera knows it, is just keeping him healthy. And I think if you look at whatever happens over the next few weeks, and if Carolina's able to lock something up with a couple games to go, I would expect him to start being rested a little bit more.
They clinch the division here today. Handoff is to Tolbert. And Tolbert has got enough for another 1st down. That's 3 straight division titles for Ron Rivera and the Panthers.
Yeah, and prior to the Panthers doing it last year, no team in the South, when they formed that division, was able to win back-to-back titles within the division. So that would be quite an accomplishment for Ron Rivera in the year that they've had this season.
Here we go, here we go. With Atlanta's loss earlier, Panthers have the division in their pocket. Trying to go to 12-0 here today. Stewart. Driving. He's denied the 35-yard line. Picks up a couple. Anthony on the tackle. Stephon Anthony is the middle linebacker in the pick that the Saints got in the Jimmy Graham trade. from the Seattle Seahawks. They got their starting center, Max Unger, a first-round pick, and turned that pick into Steph Anthony, who's had a good year, but is still learning. 2nd and 8. Sideline pass bobbled but caught out of bounds. And with the bobble, no completion again. 3rd and 8.
Well, Brian Dixon matched up one-on-one. They've got a shot, and that's just one that Ted Ginn, he has to be able to catch.
I don't know.
It's close. It's close as to whether or not he had possession. We'll see whether or not.
I challenge.
Ron Rivera wants to challenge this call.
And he is. He just threw it. That's a catch to me. Rivera is 4 for 8 in challenges, so he's not scared to throw that flag.
No, that's an area for Ted Ginn where he's had some problems. He's got 7 drops on the season, 2nd most in the league, and what should have been a routine play.
It's challenging the ruling on the field of incomplete pass.
It's close. It's a matter of whether or not he had possession, and if his left toe dragged, I think that's a catch.
I do too. We'll get the call when we come back. Let's get the call.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field has been changed. The receiver did complete the catch with both feet in bounds. Therefore, it is a catch. We have placed the ball at the 27-yard line. 1st and 10 at the 27 on the hash mark closest to the Saints bench. Carolina is not charged a timeout. The game clock will start.
There were no shortage of sideline referees along the Saints sideline to help with the call, but that's a good overturn. Rivera's now 5 for 9. Coming into this week 13, the only head coach that had challenged more this season was Bruce Arians. So the top 2 records in the NFC, their head coach is not afraid to give it another look. And with the clock winding at 2:35, 1st down at the 27. Hand off to Stewart. What a good move. And Jonathan Stewart sets up 1st and goal. And if the Panthers want, they can let it wind down to the 2-minute warning.
Well, Ryan Khalil, their center, he pulls out. You can see the job that he does. And then, of course, you've got Jonathan Stewart, who it's one-on-one open field. He makes a miss, and just a good job of executing a running play by this Carolina offensive front.
Running game is kicking it into gear for the Panthers. 1st and goal, 2 minutes left. Get apps, videos, and more at itunes.com/NFL. 14-7 Saints. 1st and goal from just outside the 5 for Carolina. Cam keeps it, flips it for the touchdown to Jonathan Stewart. Stewart is in, and with the extra point to come, a chance to tie it for Carolina as they have climbed out of a 14-0 hole. Nice little play there by the Panthers.
Yeah, it's blocked up well. They use Greg Olsen. He blocks the edge right here, and then as Cam Newton comes down, it's just one-on-one. This is option football, and Jonathan Stewart able to get the pitch and put it in.
Not that easy to flip it or pitch it left-handed like that. Newton did. Tested Stewart, who had to kind of spin around to catch the pitch. And then rumble into the end zone. But the extra point is blocked. This is Anthony. He's all alone. This is worth points. 2 of them for the Saints as they add to their lead. That is the first one ever, as the rule has been changed. Blocked by Kevin Williams, and Anthony took it the other way for 2 points. And that's the first time we've seen it in the NFL.
How about that? Kevin Williams, he Gets up, is able to get a push, get his hand on the ball, and then just a perfect bounce right into the hands of Anthony. Nobody was going to catch him. That's a big momentum swing right there. Carolina thinks they're about to tie it up 14-14, and instead New Orleans comes away with 2 more points and a 3-point lead.
And what was just a foregone conclusion last year with extra points has become anything but routine in 2015 as they've moved it back. It's the first block extra point returned for 2 points in NFL history. It's blocked by Williams. It's returned by Anthony, and it's a 3-point game.
Yeah, the league's kind of gotten what they were wanting. You know, out of the extra point, they got kind of tired that they were pretty much automatic over the years, and they wanted to bring in a little bit more skill, maybe not make them so certain, and that's been the case. Of course, that one being the first one returned, but a lot of misses this season.
Graham Gano now has missed 3 of them. That one blocked. With 1:55 left, the Saints will get the ball, leading by 3 with 1 timeout. And now, Kurt Menefee, what's coming up at halftime?
Coming up on the Visa Halftime Show, we are live from Pearl Harbor. And as you can see, it's been an amazing day in this historic location, surrounded by the brave men and women who protect our country. And of course, there's been plenty of exciting football to discuss, so make sure you come back and join us live from Pearl Harbor on the Visa Halftime.
Kurt thanks first down from the 20 as the Carolina touchdown nets just 4 points. Pass is caught by Coleman. He spun around with a gain of 6.
Well, what a turn of events right there. And now with a 3-point lead and plenty of time on the clock, we'll see what Drew Brees is able to do here before the end of this first half.
Pass is caught. Depends on the forward progress. That's Ingram. Brought down by Kuechly. First down. Delayed handoff to Ingram, trying to get out of bounds. Cannot get around Ben Wickery. Good play and a good tackle by number 25.
Sure was. I think he's had himself a nice season. You know, Josh Norman, Luke Kuechly, those guys, they get all the attention, but Ben Wickery has quietly gone about having an outstanding year himself.
2nd and 11. Brees, pass caught. That's Watson. 3rd down coming up. 3rd down and 3 after the completion to Benjamin Watson, who has a touchdown in this game. Off the right hand of Colston. And he was covered well. Finnegan was back there. Kuechly was in the neighborhood. It's 4th down with 29 seconds left and with 3 timeouts. Maybe a chance, depending on how they start field position wise, to get some points.
Yeah, I think it will be interesting to see what Ron Rivera decides to do, knowing that Carolina is going to get the ball to start the second half. I think a lot of it depends on what happens here on this return.
Morstead hits a good one. Fair catch inside the 20. Let's take another look. This is why the crowd was reacting. Williams with not just 1 but 2 shots on T.J. Graham, but no flag. The Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award, presented by Nationwide, has a long history of honoring players who have significantly impacted both the game and their communities. Each NFL team not won for the award, and 3 finalists will be announced in January of 2016. For Carolina, Greg Olsen. For the Saints, Benjamin Watson. 2 tight ends. That's going to be it for the half.
Well, I'll tell you, Joe, on that award, it's a great honor for whoever ultimately receives it, but it highlights the guy from each team that is doing a lot of good in their community.
2 good citizens. Greg Olsen, Benjamin Watson. Good game. The undefeated Carolina Panthers down by 3. We've seen history in this game. Saints lead at the half. Back after this.